Hello. Okay, so this is what I would like to call an out of body experience diary. So it's something that I want to do every week or so, or, whatever rhythm I can try to do. I'll try and do it weekly, but if I don't, life's happened. But essentially, I want to try to initiate an out of body experience, at least one or two every week. And what I want to do is record the findings and things that I, noticed or develop, or the things I experience on that basis, and just put it out in this channel. So yeah, in some ways it's a bit of accountability for me as well. And it's just a little bit of like, just going through my progress with all of this stuff. Yeah, I just think it's quite difficult to try and do more than that. Just because of the energy, I've got a day job. I need to try and get stuff done. So yeah, that's really my reasoning. The other thing I have done is to like some almost like setup, I guess. I've tried to stop drinking coffee, and I do drink coffee still, but I've had a little bit of a break from coffee over the last couple of weeks. I have been drinking tea or more herbal teas and things like that, but I'm trying to keep my tea consumption to a minimum, or at least just concentrate at the beginning of the day. I actually have got an Aura ring, and I got asked if I wanted to take part in some sort of trial, which was all about coffee drinking habits and just trying to have coffee no more than 6 hours before you go to sleep. And I saw an interesting fact actually that they put on the app, which was that people that have done this consistently have found that their REM, well, I guess the data that they have is that their REM sleep increases by about 2%. And I thought that was quite interesting, just because obviously REM sleep is just generally when sleep paralysis occurs. So that was just a random fact, to be honest. What else? Yeah, and one thing to say is that I was recording my entries. So as soon as I wake up, I record my entries on my voice app on my phone. But unfortunately, both of these voice apps, I think I was probably using these headphones, they didn't really record very well. So I'm kind of having to piece some of this together with like my sketchy memory together with what I could hear from the audio. So I'll go through the first couple of tries I had this week, and then I'm going to talk about a very random thing that happened that is kind of disconnected but kind of connected. But I just thought I'll add it there anyway. So session number 1 happened at the beginning of last week. I went to sleep around 6:30 a.m. So I actually woke up around 3 a.m. and I kind of stayed up, and I was just kind of like messing about. And I guess I got a little bit of insomnia. I couldn't really go back to sleep. And I eventually fell asleep around 6:30 a.m. And actually I fell asleep, right? I was really, really tired when I was doing this, and I dozed off, and I kept on having dreams, and I would wake up. As soon as I became aware of my dream, I woke up, and then I'd fall back asleep, and I woke up. And that probably happened in a cycle, in a loop, maybe about 3 times. And then at some point I woke up and I was in sleep paralysis. I could feel the sleep paralysis, and my brain woke up. And that happened. And then I felt that I could hear my son. I got really nervous about my son coming into our bed. And I felt like I heard my other son crying, I think it was. And I just thought, okay, I was really nervous about it. This happens quite often. I get a little bit anxious about that. And then the sleep paralysis wore off, and unfortunately I woke up. So on that occasion, it didn't quite work. But obviously I was disappointed. But actually it was a really key thing that I could take away from that, which was that I can notice or trigger my sleep paralysis through my intention setting on their own. And this is the second time that I've tried this, and the second time that it's been successful. So that I thought was quite a powerful realization, and something I will take on into future journeys. But anyway, second session happened a few days ago, and this one I was more successful. So I was actually this time listening to the Exit Process tapes by Darius, Wright. And I was listening to one of the workshops about that, with people asking questions, that kind of thing. And this time, I guess the big thing I got from it was more the commands. I made a bit of progress with the commands, but you could say probably lack of progress. But anyway, I went to sleep, and basically I was, listening to the tapes. I fell asleep, and then I felt the sleep paralysis again. And I was like, okay, brilliant. And I actually made this command to rise up from my body. And I could feel myself rising up from my body. And I thought that was really interesting, because I was like, okay, this is all in my head. And then I tried to roll out, I think it was. And then I kind of ended up back in my body. Then I think I sat up, and I could feel that I sat up. And then I lifted my arm, and that was a really interesting one because I could feel what I felt in the past, which is that it was like my soul arm rising from my body. And then I commanded to go through the wall, my back wall of the building, into my neighbour's place. And I felt like I was going through it. And then I ended up back in my body and I woke up. So, okay, just a little bit of experimentation with the whole trying to exit and movement. The other thing I should say is I felt a presence. I felt presence in the room. I felt as though I was being helped as well. Like when I sat up, I felt like I was being helped to sit up, which was a really weird feeling. And then when I woke up, I could feel this tingling all the way through my right arm. Like I've had this before as well. Like it feels like, I don't know, like my body's readjusting to beat. So I don't know, some kind of energy or connection, which is really, really weird. And yeah, that was it, really. And I have not tried since because I was just really tired and it was the weekend and had my kids and I just didn't really want to go there. But I had a really weird, curious thing that happened to me. It's not an out-of-body experience, but a weird, just something I noticed, which was quite strange. So on Saturday, I was expecting somebody at my place. I was expecting a visitor and I was just like in my bathroom, and in my mind's ear is the best way to describe this because I just heard my phone ring. Like I heard the general sort of Apple iPhone ringtone, and I really noticed it. And I thought, oh my God, it's happening. And I thought to myself, let me go check my phone, right? Because I wasn't quite sure. I was like, that's not real. I feel like it's just in my ear. I was like, let me go check my phone to see if that was just like my phone was on, but on a really low setting that I was accidentally on loudspeaker, or if it was what I thought it was, which I'll explain in a minute. And so I went over to my phone, checked my phone, and I saw at that moment, when it's like a missed call on WhatsApp, and it was like now. And I was like, oh my God, it rang. And I was like, let me check. And I checked my phone to its side to check whether or not the ringtone was on, and it was off. And I was like, wow. And that was it. And the reason why this is important is because a couple of weeks ago, I had a similar thing happen. I was sleeping, I was falling asleep, and I fell asleep, let's say like 10, 11 at night. And I heard my mum call me in my mind's ear. Like I could hear her voice distinctively. She was like, Ems. And I woke up because I was like, she's called me, and I just got worried, right? And I texted her and she was fine. And the next day I spoke to her about it, or when I went to see her, I spoke to her about it, and she was like, yeah, I think I may be thinking about you or something. And I was like, okay, that's weird. Like it's the first time in a long time I've had any sort of experience like that. But I wanted to really notice if it happened again. And so obviously this time, hearing in my mind's ear the phone ringing, I was like, okay, I remembered. I set that intention of I want to know when that happens again, and it happens. So I don't know if anybody has experienced anything like that before, but yeah, let me know. I'd love to know if that is connected, if it's just that I feel like my heart is more open, if it's something to do with that or otherwise, I don't know. Anyway, that's it for my diaries. Would love to know, any thoughts on anything I've said, anything that anyone can maybe suggest to me to do next time. But I'm going to take those learnings into this next week. Like I said, try a couple more times and see what I encounter. Anyway, love it if you could give it a like, this video. Any comments, any thoughts, please leave those. And yeah, till next time, I'll keep on doing this diary over the next few weeks and see where I get. All right. Thank you.